It's been a while since our shrink wrapped.
I think it's been about 6 months.
What's been the delay?
I just feel like you're a night owl and I'm a lark, and so our schedules are not mashing. Because you like to do it after the kids go to bed, and I like to go to bed when the kids go to bed.
So how are we gonna? If we're gonna do a podcast, how do we convince people that we're reliable podcasters?
I mean, that's a question for you. Because I am willing to do it at a reasonable hour.
When do you want to do it?
I don't know, but
okay. I can tell this is really gonna go well.
I will do it at 8:30 at night as soon as the kids go to bed. I will do it.
Okay.
But the problem is, it takes an hour to set up, and then it's 9:30, and then my eyeballs are shutting.
I do feel like I need to have some kind of streamlined.
I literally watch you bump around like a ping pong, like a bumper pool.
Don't tell them that. This room is always clean, just like this. If you turn the camera around, it's an absolute nightmare.
I have a hard time being in this room.
Well, I really enjoy having you in it.
You've been gone a lot too. We've been traveling a lot now that COVID's reopened.
I feel like during COVID it was really easy because everything was remote, and I complained about how I was stuck in my basement. And now that I've been pushed out of my basement, I'd like to be back in it.
I don't know why you ever wanted to go into an office again, because the idea of wearing pants is terrible to me. I wear stretchies.
I think it is. I actually think it's really important that people are back in the office.
Yeah, because you have to. Because then, when you get up and you can be more focused.
So can I sit on a soapbox really quick? I know this is really what shrink wrap's usually about, but I'm gonna just get on my soapbox. I feel like what's happened is we have this great resignation. Everybody's leaving their jobs. Everybody's at home in their basement. They're on LinkedIn. They're looking for new jobs. And so all of a sudden employers have been like, oh my God, how do we retain talent? And so what they've done is they said to their employees, what do you want? So everybody's like, well, I want more money. I want more autonomy. I want more flexibility. I want more whatever. I want to be at home. And so I feel like every employer is going, okay, do whatever you want. We'll pay you as much as we possibly can. We'll let you work from home. But the problem with that is they're shifting. It used to be that companies were trying to make employees engage in work-life integration, where they valued the organization, they valued their work as much as they did their personal life. It was one and the same. You go to work for your social exposure. You go to work for for your friends, for your relationships, for your sense of meaning, for your sense of right. That was at work, and then at home it was for family. And the idea was how do we combine the two? And now with COVID, it's been separated. At home, you get the meaning, the family, the relationships, the friends, all that. And at work, it's just a paycheck. So what happens is as companies ask employees, what do you want to do? Employees are saying, hey, I want more time at home. Companies are giving that to them. And they're saying, oh, look how much more efficient everybody is. But I think that it's corrupting the organizational culture. And I think it will lead to, in the next 2 years, a total disruption in how organizations function. I bet you.
Yeah.
I feel like you lost interest in my soapbox there halfway through.
I've heard it before.
Okay. That's good. Hey, that's good pod. Okay, keep going.
No, I have. I've heard you talk about it before. So, I think you're right. I'm always shocked when I see people in person. There was this woman I worked with online for 2 years that I thought, I'm 5'1", so I thought she was my size. And I met her in person, and she was literally 6'4". So, I was blew my mind.
Yeah,
so I
have
think
the
it's
same.
really...
I met somebody at the airport the other day, and he was like, "Oh, you're really small." Yeah, he was saying same thing. He was a bit. I was like, "Hey, I have a big personality." Okay.
So I'm always when you meet people for the first time, it's you know them, but it's
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have given up trying to look perfect on my Zoom calls. If they want to see me on camera, I got the side pony going.
I will say, can I give you some constructive feedback about your Zoom presence?
Yeah.
I feel like your whole team, I can't figure it out. You guys are all just not on Zoom. You guys have Zoom calls, but everybody has their camera off.
David,
And
I
cannot
get sick
figure
of
out.
looking at these people not paying attention. So I am like, I am not a fan of looking at people for the whole time because one, I'm distracted by myself. Like if my camera's on, I'm like distracted by
You're
like
staring at yourself the whole time?
it's terrible. So I disagree with you that your camera has to be on. I think if I'm moving around, to be honest, because I'm high like hyperactivity, I feel like I am able to focus better. So if you let me walk around and listen to you versus have to sit and stare at myself and other people on Zoom, like one time I was on a Zoom call and I could literally see somebody had stuff in their teeth. And I was like, can't they see that?
Maybe you're more focused on yourself than others. If I ever do a Zoom call and I have any kind of influence, I will make the person turn on their camera every time. Because I feel like it's not fair that I have to show my face, and this person's over there, eating salad while we're doing whatever the presentation.
No one wants to see your face.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, that's how we stay connected, right? Otherwise, it should be just a phone call.
I think let's agree to disagree on that.
All
I
right,
am not
all right.
getting off camera more. I am not.
You're not getting on camera.
Like, I was on a call and someone was literally eating pistachios. And then he was like, is it too loud?
All right. There is a massive difference between the culture of Allison's company and mine. I feel like you guys are way more flexible on your Zoom calls.
Yeah.
I can't eat pistachios. Jeez. Do I know who that person is?
Yeah, he's my favorite person.
Oh, yeah.
Do you need to mention this?
Okay, so we got a, I don't know if you call it a sponsor or an affiliate, but there's a company that reached out and we like their shirts, so Allison is wearing shirt number 1, which is, what does it say?
Cute but prickly, and I love this shirt because my spirit animal is a hedgehog because like I'm cute and prickly.
Yes.
So I feel like it matches my spirit animal.
I actually like all of their clothes. So the company's name is Boardwalk. So I will put a link below if you are dying for a cute but prickly t-shirt.
But I think we should have started with my most embarrassing story in the whole world instead of you talking about the culture.
All right, tell your story.
It was humiliating. I'll start from the beginning for the audience. I am a marketer, and a very small part of my job is to introduce thought leaders in my field, and I do it at conferences, and I just recently last week was at a very big conference with our global team, our U.S. team, several other thought leaders, and I had to introduce a speaker. Very small part of my job, very small introduction, and I literally froze. And I couldn't remember what I was doing up there, and my leg started shaking my whole body and convulsing, and I can only talk about it now. It was so bad. It was so embarrassing. I have never been more humiliated.
Because you were in front of how many people?
Probably 100, but it wasn't the amount of people. I think it was the particular audience at the time. And also, like, I'm not sure why my brain shut off and why my leg started dancing.
The little stanky leg?
I can only laugh about it today. Mm-hmm. I spent a few days crying about it.
You were not happy about it. When I called you, I think, where was I? I was in St. Louis or something, and you called and were not happy.
Well, I wish people would make fun of me about it. But everyone just feels so bad about it. One's talking about it.
Why do you want them to make fun of you?
Just so we can move on. We all know it happened.
Because you feel like no one's mentioned it.
Like, it happened.
Have you made fun of yourself?
No.
I think you probably have to give them permission by you making fun of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, make a joke about it so that people know that you're comfortable talking. Because everybody's trying to protect you. You know? Okay, so do you want to talk about how do you want to talk? How can I be helpful? How do you want to talk about this?
Well, I don't know why that happened.
Okay, so I do have, and some of this you and I've already talked about. The first thing here's what I really do think. You do, I think, have a bad habit of whenever you talk about leaders in your field, you'll be like, I'm talking to this person and he is a X, Y, or Z, and he's a big deal. Mm-hmm. I feel like you have the habit of framing up everybody's status, and you are, whenever you frame it up, I think inappropriately so, you are always the bottom rung, and so I feel like when that's always in your mind, I assume with these 100 people, or whatever it was that were watching you, you thought these are all higher ranking people that I need to impress.
Yeah, I'm sure in the back of my mind I thought that. Like, I just wanted to get it over with, you know. But yeah, I probably did. And I think it is like in the field I'm in, they always talk about, it's very hierarchical. So.
But, I mean, I agree, kind of. I mean, I agree, kind of. I think lots of fields are hierarchical. I think you're letting it be hierarchical.
Yeah.
The way you talk about it just at home with me at dinner is all very hierarchical.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, did you practice?
Yes.
You did practice.
I practiced a lot. And I was ready. I had it memorized, what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. So that's the second piece of feedback I'm going to give you is you should probably practice. Because I do think that well, then I guess the other question is, are you... Usually there's a piece of it which is, how are you framing it? The second piece of it is, have you practiced it enough? But there are some people, and I would probably put you in this bucket, whose personality is flexible enough that if you give yourself a rigid sort of structure that you have to follow, it puts boundaries on what you can say, and that those boundaries can feel stifling, and they put you at risk for making a mistake and then feeling bad about the mistake.
Yes, I think that's exactly what it is. Like, I need to not follow a script because then I forget where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you worry about it.
And then I couldn't even... It was bad, Dave. It was so bad. Just trying to get past it because tomorrow I have to do it again.
So what are you going to do tomorrow if it goes badly?
Well, we already talked about it, so I think I'm going to do it more my personality.
But the people that are listening to this podcast haven't talked about it. What are you going to do different?
I'm going to practice with my personality versus trying to read a script. Mm-hmm. So it's going to come out different every time I practice it, but it will be me talking. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep it really simple and short.
What do you do if you make a mistake?
Laugh at myself and keep going. Like, I think maybe I even start it as like, I really botched the last time I introduced someone, so let's see if I can get it right this time. I
mean, I don't know culturally how that goes. Can I just give you a list of suggestions?
Yeah.
The first one, which I have told you 100 times for like years, is do beta blockers. Which I know no one likes, you don't want to do, but that is, I think, a really important... The way anxiety works is it's very cyclical. So when you are feeling anxious, your brain goes, this is anxiety provoking, and then as a consequence, then your heart races. And when your brain feels your heart racing, your brain goes, oh shit, we're really nervous. And then your heart skyrockets, and then your brain goes, oh double shit, we're really freaked, and it gets you. That's how panic attacks happen. The way a beta blocker works, which is just blood pressure medication, is it stops your heart from skyrocketing. It's like a performance-enhancing drug for golfers, for putting, for archers, and for public speakers, and for lawyers. And like anytime you're doing depositions, a lot of people take beta blockers. Like, it is a very good way to shut off that it just lowers your blood pressure. It stops your heart from skyrocketing, and still allows you to be focused. So I feel like I have to say that is a game changer for a lot of people. It was for me.
Please consult your medical professional before you take a beta blocker.
Yeah, don't get it off the black market. But I can just tell you,
I agree with you, but like you cannot be giving medical advice because you're not an MD.
Talk to your MD, and I promise you they'll tell you it's a good idea. Let me just say one thing. So I used to be a professor, and I would get very nervous. You know, I graduated from my doc program, and then had that same year had to turn around and start teaching people that were just 1 year behind me in the program, and I would get very nervous about it. And beta blockers saved me. And then when I first started working with executives, you know, I was whatever it was, 30, 31. I'm talking with CEOs of very large organizations, and it would stress me out. I feel like beta blockers changed the game for me. And now, because I've done it enough, I don't need the beta blocker. But it is for public speaking, which is the most common type of anxiety, it is a game changer.
Yeah.
And a low risk one.
Yeah. Do you have any?
No. But you should get some. The other thing is, and I've been telling you that for like 3 years.
I know.
And what?
I agree with you.
But you won't, for some reason, you won't follow my suggestion.
I don't know who to even ask to write me one.
Just your GP.
I don't go to a GP.
Well, go to a GP.
Do you go to one?
Okay. I have a list of
suggestions.
I have a list of, okay, God. I have a list of suggestions. Can I give you I'm trying to give some suggestions here for public speaking.
Yes.
First of all, it's the most common type of anxiety. For any kind of anxiety, the solution is always exposure. So what I told you when this happened is you have to find a way to get back on the horse as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. If you have any kind of anxiety, any kind of a moment where you feel like you're in panic and you run from that, then that panic gets bigger and more powerful, which is the wrong direction. So you want to do it a lot. Next thing I would tell you is you want to have some way of breaking up your mind or your thinking while you're giving that presentation in case you make a mistake. So for example, I would encourage you to bring water or coffee on stage so that when you're giving a presentation, that is there so that you can drink and stay hydrated and your voice sounds good. That's what everybody thinks. But the reality is that if you get freaked out or make a mistake and you can stop and take a sip of water or fake like you're coughing and sip water, it gives you just 5 seconds to like down-regulate. What do you think?
I think that's good advice.
Practice a lot, right? Most people don't practice very frequently. Mm-hmm. Keep it short. Whenever you're doing anything, what you want to essentially do is you want to say, here's the point I want to make. So this person is a badass. Then you want to give examples of why they're a badass. And then you want to restate your position.
Yes.
That is the structure of 90% of speeches. And I think if you have that in your mind and you hit those points, you can get through it pretty easily.
Yeah. It's interesting because I did it at that conference, I did it probably 5 more times. And each time
it got better.
Better. I just didn't do it the way that I had originally done it, which is super organized. Like I should have just done it with my personality from the get-go.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm better that way. But, I'm very humiliated.
I think
I hope I come back from it.
Yeah, well, on the next shrink wrap, we'll talk. Yeah, what if at the next shrink wrap you say it went bad again?
Well, then I need to find a GP that will write me beta blockers. I actually just think I need a straight up Valium.
Valiums are not good.
Oh.
Because they've changed the way your brain works.
Oh.
I think it's going to go fine, though.
I feel, what I'm even more nervous about is I have to dance with people tomorrow. Like a choreographed dance.
But can I just go back for 1 second to the public speaking thing?
Yeah.
If in your mind, let's just say you get the stanky leg again, what is the repercussion?
Of me getting the stanky leg? I can't, I feel like once the stanky leg comes out, like I can't breathe. Like I was like, I don't know what is happening.
But what if that happens? What if like the worst case scenario happens?
I think I make a joke about how this is what happens when I have to talk in front of people. Is my leg starts talking.
And then what does that mean for your career?
Nothing,
Anything?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't
That's
really
a good,
matter.
right, it's a 0.
Yeah.
It's a good thing for you to think about, because I do think that as you prepare for this, I think in the back of your mind, you're like, this is a huge deal, but it is like 2% of your job, right? And you have to keep it in context, you know? All right. Yeah. Talk about your dance, which, by the way, she hasn't practiced the speeches a lot, but I can tell you she's been really dancing. So you ready for your...
I have practiced the speeches.
Yeah, okay, the speech. But every time I see her, she's doing this. She has to go 5, 4.
Oh, that's the hardest
and she
part.
got some weird hand things, so we spent all weekend practicing this hand thing.
There's some things about it that aren't intuitive, so yeah. No, I do think it is career limiting not being able to speak in front of people. Like all the people, again, you're gonna be like, oh, but like they're the ones who would hire me for like my next level up, and they saw me like literally have a panic attack. I think I can't remember all that happened, but I think I had a straight up panic attack. I couldn't remember what I was saying, and my leg was shaking.
I'm not saying that it's not important, but I think that you need to avoid. You don't want to make it into a catastrophe when it's not a catastrophe. Yeah. You're right. Like as you progress in your career, I think for a lot of people, you have to be able to speak publicly. Like you have to learn it and get comfortable, but also don't put it in your mind that if you make a mistake, you know, there's a firing squad at the end of it. It's because there's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think one thing you can talk about, because I think I am really good at this, which is like, and I think I sent you a text about it. Mel Robbins text.
What?
I'm going to pull it up if that's okay, because it's relevant, but it's like I can really catastrophize. Like when one bad thing happens, I feel like everything is going downhill. Like, you know? And I was thinking that maybe you could talk about how to not do that to yourself.
I don't know. Like on this pod right now?
Yeah, like because I feel like you're good at like compartmentalizing like failures. But
thanks, Al.
You are.
We all have talents.
But I can really make it like everything is bad. So Mel Robbins wrote, and I felt like she was speaking to me, so I sent it to you, but you didn't reply anything back. So don't let your bad
no idea what you're talking about.
let your bad days trick you into thinking you have a bad life.
Oh, I agree.
That's a good quote, right?
Yeah.
It tricked me. It tricked me this week.
Can I tell you, I actually thought you handled it pretty well. Like you called me, you were really upset, but I didn't feel like you were, like you didn't isolate, or you didn't seem like overrun by it.
No,
you know?
But you know what was super embarrassing is my coworker, who like I'm sure like cares about me. He was like, "How'd your day go?" And like we're at like a huge event, and like a tear came down, and he was like, "Don't cry." And I was like, "I'm not going to the bathroom."
I'm not. I'm fine.
Totally fine. This is fine.
Yeah. Okay, and the other good news is everybody in that audience has experienced anxiety speaking publicly. Like it's a very common.
But I feel like I get that it's very common, but has it happened to them like that?
Maybe not to that degree. But it might have for some. I bet you for some it has.
I feel bad for the guy that was like, "How was your day?"
Yeah, it's
like,
oh
my God.
That's the last time he's going to check in on you.
So, yeah.
What else? Anything else important to talk about today on this podcast?
Well, that Dr. Cline, we saw that that movie that's on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen the Netflix movie about Dr. Cline, who was apparently some fantastic infertility specialist, but it came out that he was with 23andMe. He never thought that was going to happen, but it came out that he was artificially inseminating with his own semen. And number one, could he have been that smart of doctor to know that that wasn't a potential, a 23andMe at that time? Like, he was behind the times because
in the 70s?
It wasn't in the 70s.
It was.
No, it was in the 80s and 90s.
I think it was late 70s, early 80s.
No, 80s and 90s.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. He had like some. I want to know about this sick personality, because I felt like at first I was like, why do people want to know? Like, why do they care? Why is it that? But then the way it went down, it was sick and very unethical.
There's
in
a
the
lot
same
of
town.
There's a lot of thoughts. I'm not sure exactly where to jump in.
Jump in.
What you for the people for the kids, you don't know why they want to know.
Well, they're like, feel like this man ruined their lives, but okay, I know that people are going to be mad at me when I say this, but like on one hand, they wouldn't be here without him. Mm-hmm. So yes, he was there. There's like a lot of conflicting feelings, I feel like, for the children or the offspring of him.
Yeah. And
I also have I don't have conflicting feelings. I think he's a dirtbag and gross, but
okay, can I just make one point?
Mm-hmm.
It is true that for some of them, the woman came in and said, for whatever reason, I'm not able to get pregnant. Can you get me sperm from one of the physicians across the way, right? Donor. And he was like, yeah. I got it from some 23-year-old physician, and he just went in the other room and provided it himself. That's one category. The other category, which I talked about in the documentary, is there are husband and wife walk in, and husband is sterile, or for some reason husband's not there. They can't make it work, and so he is inseminating them so the husband's not sterile, but something's not working.
Slow swimmers.
He supposedly used the husband's semen.
But didn't. He used his.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh.
So imagine if you found out that your mom and dad were having difficulty conceiving, they went to a fertility clinic and they used your mom and dad's stuff, and it was actually Dr. Cline's. And so your dad is no longer your dad.
I mean, he's still your dad, but he's not your biological. It would be devastating.
Yeah, so that's an all bad scenario, it seems like.
Yeah. Why did he do it? And I guess there's the documentary said there's 44 other doctors.
Yeah, this is a thing. I mean,
I don't mean to be judgy, but this is why I went to female OBGYNs. There's a lot to unpack sometimes with these male OBGYNs. They do a lot of dicey stuff. Not all of them, but we found out quite a few.
On this particular, it's not a good look. I think the easy answer is it's about power and control. I would argue that it's also a lot about sex. Like I felt like the documentary was weird, and I kept talking about they were trying to find like this like tenuous relationship between he had I'm trying to think of like the YouTube favorable term for it. He had extracted his own semen in the other room and then put it in the women. And they're saying when he was putting it in the women, he was still had the arousal from extracting his own sperm.
They kept saying that.
Yeah, because they're trying to make a link between like, look, this was sexual. But for me, if he's in the other room producing his own semen and he's thinking about how he's going to put it in this unsuspecting woman, like if you are ejaculating, if you're having an orgasm, then it's like, to me, by definition, it is also sexual. But we keep framing it like, oh, it's all only about power. No. It's about power, and very much about this is a fetish for this guy. To me, and a clear one.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, I mean, it was an interesting documentary and very sad. I mean, they're all in the same small town. So like they could have dated each other. Yeah. Like, it's terrible.
You should watch it's It's creepy, but a pretty good, I mean, very good documentary.
I thought it was good. Yeah. So I think we'll close out today, but I do want to say that we're gonna get back on the wagon for Shrink Wrapped. We've missed you and we've missed doing it, and it was fun today.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
Good luck to me tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we'll give an update the next time.